The film industry in Kwara State continues to thrive as the room for development of upcoming artists and filmmakers in the state arises through training and mentorship support provided by the Kwara State Sugar Factory Film Studios, collaborating with the Sony Alpha Company, who gave a platform for creative artists to interact and meet with top stars in the industry. At a program tagged Love Live Film, Kwara young filmmakers had the opportunity of meeting and interacting with some Nollywood artists and filmmakers like Clarence Peters, Bukola Oloyede, Daro Umaigba, Olagbenga Titiloye, and Grace Baba Sola, who is also the general manager of the factory and the convener of the event. All artists and filmmakers spoke about their life experiences, challenges, and how upcoming artists and filmmakers can outsmart similar challenges if and when encountered by them in the course of practice. In her opening remarks, Grace Babashola welcomes participants to the studios and encouraged them to make the best of the opportunities given them to meet with artists and sharing their experiences in the field of practice.
Sony other space. So just enjoy yourself and make sure that you learn what you can. Ask questions, have conversations. It's for creatives and we are here. It's from Sony Alpha and it doesn't just come easy like that. So I want to say you are privileged to be able to partake in this hangout, this event. And I hope you enjoy yourself. So some of you who are coming here for the first time, Sugar Factory Film Studio is one of the biggest film studio we have in Africa, as it is. It is something, it's been established by the state government. It's something you need to take advantage of if you are around here. And I know that for Ojaja University, some of you are here already. We are in collaboration with you, your department, mass communication, to do stuff. Soon you will be coming here to do some practical work, recordings, trainings, and all of that. So I'm sure you will have an interesting time. Today, you're going to be opportune to listen to seasoned filmmakers talk about their experience, their journey, and you will also view some of the works they've done before. Sugar Factory is out to help creatives have more experience with ease. Both the Sugar Film Factory Academy and the filmmaking aspect of it. Ilorin people have not yet braced themselves up for the magnitude of what they have here. I see that some people are a bit laid back, even though they have advantage, taking advantage of what they have here. It seems to be pushing and to be asking, especially the first set of students that graduated from here. But you need to take advantage of this space and all the events that will be coming in here so that you will be able to level up with other creatives in the country and even outside the shores of the country. We bring in Mr. Daro, one of our partners. Thank you. A round of applause, please. They came all the way from Lagos.
Introduced Daro Umaigba, who moderated the floor, where participants listened with rapt attention and later asked questions as relating to the attention from all the events. Bukola Oloyede, Clarence Peters, and others bore their minds out, igniting the session with the jibes and beats of the action they were known for as filmmakers.
Thank you so much, Grace. In fact, please help me put your hands together for this wonderful woman. She tries to be modest, but she's absolutely phenomenal. Please put your hands together for her again. Thank you so much. As you've rightly heard, my name is Daro. So good afternoon, everybody. How you all doing? You're good? So this is my first time in Ilorin, and I'm really enjoying it. I wish I was staying longer. Yeah, the place is so chill. and it's easy to move around. Yeah, coming from a place like Lagos, you understand. Yeah, my fellow Lagosians here. So I know we have guys from Ojaja University. Wave your hands. Okay. All of you are fine in that school. Would they admit me for anything? Something. I just okay. Are there any other guys from any other some other schools from around? Just wave your hand. Okay. Which other schools do we have here? Okay, there's Sugar Factory Academy people here. Where are you? Put your hand. Hey, come on, raise your hands. Oh yeah, okay. Put your hands together for them. Okay. Welcome. And every other person from every other place, I recognize you specially. Yes, you are all welcome. Okay, so I came with a couple of my colleagues, a couple of my friends, and some of them will be joining me on stage now, and we're just going to gist, chat, you know. So I would like you to loosen up a little. Don't worry, it's not that deep. It's not a very, don't let all these lights and everything deceive you. It's a very chill event, you know. That's what it's supposed to be. That's why we're having it in the lounge, and I've already planned with the DJ. At some point, we're just going to kick out all these lights, put on all the disco lights, and obey. Yes, that's the real plan. That's why we are here. Because you know, if we're somewhere else, it would be hard to switch to that mode. But I know this my uncle. He's ready. You are ready? Yeah. All right. Okay. So please join me. Make welcome to the stage. I'd first like to introduce my friend and brother. Well, I was telling him recently. No, not recently. I was telling him now that he has betrayed me. So, but I'll forgive him, you know, because I'm a loving guy. Please help me make welcome the phenomenal filmmaker extraordinaire, Clarence Peters. Come on, keep those hands clapping. Yeah. The man, the myth, the legend, the... Yes, I was going to do that to you anyway. Yeah, he's the one, in flesh. Clarence Peters, yes. Yeah, how you doing, man? I have the mic now, don't worry. Okay. Let's keep it moving. Don't worry. He's here. All the questions you've been wanting to ask him, yeah, he's here. And he'll be talking straight from his heart, you know. He doesn't usually do that. Where does he usually talk from? It's from your heart now. You always talk from your heart. Yeah. Okay. So I want you to help me make welcome. Also, somebody very dear to us at Sony. She's our fearless leader, and she kind of runs things on this side of the divide when it comes to Sony. Please help me make welcome the lovely, delectable, beautiful Bukola Oloyede. Come on, keep those hands clapping. Okay, it's fine. All right.
Good evening. Oh wow, that's quite loud. How are you all doing? I'm excited to be here. It's also my first time in Ilorin. I was lucky enough or opportunity enough to meet Grace, about 2-3 weeks ago? And initially we were just going to come and see the factory, the film studio, see the facility, see what's here, and look at the opportunities for young creatives and emerging filmmakers in Ilorin. But then, you know, I thought it probably would be good to speak to the creatives themselves and not just come and see the place and go, and spend some time to discuss, you know, what is important to you as an emerging creative, and hopefully find points that we can align, but also see where we can create more value for you as well within the ecosystem of the creative space and the creative economy. As it's also February, it's the month of love, even though we show love every day. It's what inspired the theme for today's event, which is called Love, Life, and Films. To be in the creative space, you must have a love for it. There's also the life that you live as a filmmaker, as a creative person, as a photographer, whatever space you find yourself in within the creative industry. And then there is the aspect of films itself. There's the aspect of the production. There's the aspect of the things that maybe you may not think about. I'm glad that we have some mass comm students in the house, and we have people from the academy also in the house. Because I think sometimes we have this conception of what we think filmmaking is about, or what we think being a creative is about. And even though it starts from passion, it starts from what you would, love to do, what you would love to be represented by, or perhaps maybe you think it's just, let me just do stuff and put stuff online so that me see if I can blow like everybody else. Well, we'll find out in the course of these conversations what your love really is, what your life could potentially be, and whether or not you actually do belong in this space. So, once again, I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to see you all here. I hope we can learn something. I hope we can share.
How many of us love it? Come, they don't see. They are loving you already. How many of us are loving her already? Yes. Yeah, I have to take every opportunity to take shots at her, poke her as much as I can because, yeah.
That's not an opening statement.
It is. Yeah, really, it is.
Okay.
Anyways, I told you we are just going to chill here and, but because what I'm really looking forward to is the oblate after this whole thing is over. So don't run. We have all the lights. We are not joking here. This is the lounge. Party Central. So immediately after the event, we just switch. Yeah. Okay. Anyways, we are going to be sharing, and so I think it's only proper because I'm a proper gentleman, and I know that chivalry is not dead. Although some people want to say chivalry is dead, and we shouldn't be saying ladies first. We shouldn't hold the whole door for ladies. We should. Do you agree with all those things? Don't you want somebody to hold the door for you, open the door for you? It's nice. Yes. Chivalry is not dead. All this thing, it's not everything that is woke. Now woke ourselves out of. Please, don't join that. Every other woke will woke, but that woke part, no. Ladies first.
Bukola Lady, Clarence Peters, and others bore their minds out, igniting the session with the jibes and beats of the action they were known for as filmmakers.
Yeah. Right. With that being said, so, and
Ask your question.
Okay, Buki. I want you to talk about your life as a filmmaker. Yeah, let's start from there.
To be honest, I didn't really see myself as a filmmaker. I mean, I've always figured out that I would be in the creative space in some way because it goes beyond me to my parents. My father was in the business for a very long time, and so was my mom. And so in my head, I'm like, it's a family thing, so perhaps maybe one day I would be interested and I would get into the space somehow. And when I went to school, when I went to do university, I kind of wanted to run away from all of that because I didn't want to be compared. I didn't want to be in a space where I was being compared to my mother, who was well known as a broadcaster and newscaster and all that. I didn't want to be compared to my father, who was also well known in the production space, or perhaps maybe even be in their shadows. I also didn't want to be compared to my older sister, who also got into the production space, and she studied theater arts. And so I thought, what can I go and study that is completely out of all of this? In hindsight, I should have stuck with what I knew, but I went to study human resource management. But it is also quite a huge part of what I do now, because it's managing people, it's managing resources, and even within production itself, that's a key skill that you need. So I digress a little bit, but I'll come back. When I finished university and all of that, and I was thinking about what to do. Of course, my parents were still in the business and all of that. I came back with, I want to stay in the HR space, and I found out very quickly that that wasn't the life for me, because I just couldn't function within a sit down behind a table, sit down on a computer, and type my life away. Or just, if I wasn't being creative, I realized that it wasn't something that I could flourish in. And then I caught the bug. I started working on productions. One of the first big productions I worked on was Nigerian Idol. This was about 14 years ago. Nigerian Idol. And I was like, oh, okay, this looks pretty interesting. And it was easy for me to function within that space. Now, it wasn't like I was some hot shots, big, I wasn't calling any shots or anything. I started as a production assistant, production coordinator, which is really just a runner, which is really just glorified house girl. That's really what the role is. And I'm saying that because it's important to understand that you start from somewhere. Everybody wants to start at the top, where you're being seen, you're being heard, you have a voice, you can speak, and everybody's seeing you. And I think sometimes when we skip these steps, there are things that you miss out on the journey to being this hotshot caller. There are things that you miss out on. So I didn't start with film, so to speak. It was more production, more on the administrative side of things. And then, I started to get more and more involved in the content space. And then, things just started to progress from there. So between live productions and reality TV, one of which was Big Brother at some point in my life, between that and creating TV shows, between that and then producing a couple of films for Africa Magic, between that and then deciding that I wanted to create my own stuff, and then I created a TV web series which I put out on YouTube. One thing became very clear to me. I feel most at home within this space, but I feel most at home when I'm also creating something that people can enjoy, people can relate to, and people would talk about afterwards. I think one of the things that I've also sort of realized about myself as a filmmaker is that I really don't care about the glory, so to speak, because filmmaking is a collaborative effort. And if you get into it with the idea that it's written by me, directed by me, co-produced by me, executive produced by me, gaffered by me, there are instances where when you're starting, you take on a lot of roles because you don't have the resources to pay the people that you need to join you, to pay for the professional services. There are instances, and that happens usually in the beginning. But the more you hold on to that creative executive control so much, they say 2 heads are better than 1. And in my experience, 4 heads are better than 2. So I've also been a very collaborative person, and that's also because of the way that I saw my parents work. There was hardly anything that my father did in production that he didn't call a friend to join him. He didn't say, I want to work with so and so person. I have this project. Now, mind you, it was never always reciprocated, because when they had their own productions, they kept all the money in their pockets. But I understood the value of collaboration from watching the way that he worked. And so when I say that, for me, it's not so much about the glory of, hey, look, I did it, and I did it all on my own. I don't really think that that's something that is something that you should be boasting about, because filmmaking is a collaborative process. And the way that I also see it is that it gives everybody an opportunity to learn and grow together. Hopefully, as I'm learning, somebody also is learning on my set, so that when they go somewhere else, they can take that learning with them, or they can decide, I want to stick here because, I'm learning something with this person. Again, that goes back to where I've come from and the people that I've seen work around me. So my journey, perhaps might be different from Clarence's, it might be different from Darrow's, but I can't take away from the things that I've learned and the way that I saw the people that I was very close to work. Another thing that I think has come up in my life as a filmmaker is that I love storytelling. I love creating stories, like I said, that people can relate to. And one of the things that have also shown up, and I don't know whether this is a good or a bad thing, but one of the things that has also shown up about me as a filmmaker, my life as a filmmaker, is that it feeds into my need to have things perfect. I'm a bit of a perfectionist. And that's a great thing, but that can also be a bit of a bad thing when you're on set and you're like, you have time and you've got things to do and you have production to get on, and, you're like, no, the light is not quite right. But we don't have time, but the light is not the way that I want it to be. But it's also good to be attentive to detail and to have those details in mind, because that makes you better, that makes your process better. And the more you also stick to the things that are important to you, that you're somewhat finicky about, somewhat fussy about, because there's a method behind it, because there's a reason, not just because you want to be a difficult person, but because there's a reason behind it. And like I said, a lot of times in filmmaking, we kind of have these hacks, right? We want to get things done as quickly as possible with as little effort as possible, and that's great. But sometimes sticking to the things that make your voice unique is just as important as trying to rush through your production because you have only paid for one day and that one day is running out, right? So I think those are just a few of my lessons I don't know whether they're lessons, but my experience in terms of my life as a filmmaker.
Please put your hands together for that week. No. Please, I'm the moderator of this. Please allow me moderate. Okay.
Sorry.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, please let us hear from the maestro himself, Clarence Peters. You like that intro?
Oh yeah, sorry. I will not fail you again. Sorry.
Okay. Well, yeah, seriously, Clarence, tell us about your life as a filmmaker.
My life as a filmmaker.
Please.
We don't have time. We'll be here forever.
No, just give us the summarized.
Me and Buki have a lot of
Sugar Factory edit.
I and Buki have a lot in common from a lot of things that she had said, from her parents and her not wanting to be in the shadow of her parents and all of that. I went through that extensively from the get-go. I think the only difference is I had no other choice but to be around film. I was constantly in conversations as early as 6, 7, 8 with uncles and aunties who were poets, who were filmmakers, and just around the arts, which I'm sure she can also relate to. If I'm going to give a compressed version of it, it's probably the version of that people always like to hear, but also I think it's probably also the best way for anyone to learn from. It would probably start from 2006 with music videos. I had gone to film school, specifically gone to film school, and when I got back from film school, when people ask me if they should go to film school, and I always used to tell them it's a waste of your money. But I kind of adjust that statement now. If you are in a school and you've made your decision to be a filmmaker, the most important thing, which is also what I learned over a period of time, I mean, it took me a lot longer to actually come to the conclusion of it, is to understand that the people that you are constantly around are probably more important than any school or institution or anything like that. And especially now with the way social media is, right? They may create all these big buildings and tell you, if you come to this place, you will learn this, you will learn that, you will learn how to be a content creator in 2 weeks, in 1 month, all those big boo-boo. Yeah, there's no guarantee in that. And it's the people that you're around, right? Constantly making sure that you're around people who care about the same things that you care about, right? Normally, I would tell you that you have to love film, but I guess I'm saying that because I love film. You don't necessarily have to love film. It's not by force, because if you go into it on people are telling you, I have to love film, and you go enter it for that reason, and you're probably not going to fall in love with it. You're going to fall in love with everything else that comes with it. If you are lucky enough to fall in love, if you've never gotten paid 500k before, by the time you're on like a third production, they pay you 500k, you're in love with it. You're in love with the money of it. If your guy starts using different eye to look at you because you're on set and you took picture with Whiskey and Davido and posted it, and everybody starts calling you and saying, you don't blow, you're in love with that. Filmmaking itself is not as glamorous as people. The process itself is not as glamorous as. It's fine to be in love with the money. Who doesn't want to have money yet? It's fine to be in love with the money. It's fine to be in love with respect, right? All of that stuff is you guys, and if I told you guys otherwise, I would be lying, and you would figure it out along the way, right? But if you find yourself in a position where this is the only thing that makes you feel comfortable, this is the only thing that you actually really like doing, and then that's great. Then that's you being in love with film, and then you look for people like that to be around you. You look for people that are like that to be around you. With me, I was lucky enough to find people who were like that. I went to intern before going to film school in a production company called Alpha Vision. Alpha Vision morphed to become what you guys know as Sound City today. And I found a bunch of people that became my people. All right, and I evolved with that. I went to school. When I got into school, I found people, but I didn't find people who were the same way. All right, I went to school and there was, okay. I don't know if you guys, any of you who are old enough to remember the period when if jam you, your life has ended. There's no private university. You have to do jam again. All right, so I got this rare opportunity that my mother gave me to actually be able to go to film school. So when I'm in school, and there are other students that are just, swagging around as if they have other things, I'm telling them, see, if I fail, that's it too. It's mechanic work from that juncture. All right, and so being put under that kind of pressure, because at the time I went to film school, not a lot of people were going to film school. And I couldn't count up to 3 people who had gone to film school that were within the business. All right, and so I really had to be under that pressure. So it was really important then, because you just saying you went to film school and being able to confirm it could at least put you in certain rooms for certain conversations. Now, it's not that important in terms of on your resume. What, however, is important is who you've worked with and what projects you've been able to work on. If you are here, if you are in mass comm, or maybe your friend dragged you here, you don't have anything to do with filmmaking, you can still be within the business. Because if there's anything you learn or take away from anything that I'm saying, filmmaking is the only art form that combines every other art form. I will say that again. Filmmaking is the only thing that you can do that would allow you work with music, allow you work with fashion, allow you work with catering, allow you work with cleaning. So the conversations about filmmaking isn't necessarily only for people within the arts. It's for people both within the arts and outside the arts. All right. So if you I say this because if you surround yourselves, like I was lucky enough to surround yourself with people who are in different things, but are as driven as you are and need to survive and thrive, not just survive, but thrive, then you can achieve anything. Forget all the big English everybody's always speaking. There's so much big English. All right. Are you doing anything? If you are doing something and you are consistent with that doing, you will, I hate to use the word, you will make it. You will blow. All right. For some people it's 1 year, for some people it's 5 years. The people that it's longer to blow for tend to be stronger. If it happens for you real quick, 9 out of 10 times you're not ready for it. But if you've gone through that entire process, all right, then it becomes a lot easier. There are artists that I have worked with. Look, it's something you guys probably don't know. Apart from shooting music videos, I also own the record label. So Fino was my artist, Chidima was my artist. But I also got to work with a lot of artists, not as a music video director, as a filmmaker, but in terms of actually creating their brands with the business in itself. There are a lot of artists that you people are shouting about today that I have seen being told that they have no talent. There is a particular artist, she wouldn't mind. There was an interview that was supposed to happen in my office. It wasn't an interview, it was content that BET, this is when BET first started having any conversations with Nigeria. Yemi Alade is the first person to get there, and Yemi Alade got there by 8 o'clock in the morning. By 12 at night, everybody had been interviewed except her. And they told her that the card has finished. She should be going home. A call was placed to her manager at the time, her manager Tai, and Tai said, let her come back home. When she blows, they will beg her for the interview. 2 years later, we did Johnny, and BET was looking for her. Now, please understand, before this, Yemi had been grinding for a long time. Now, when you see her on stage and a bunch of things, it's almost like as if it's soft work, because it's built inside her. You can wake her up in the morning and then she would perform. It's also the same thing with actors. There are a lot of actors that you would see that, okay, suddenly they just blew now. And yes, there are people give money and they try to find a way to buy their ways, but they don't last. The people who last are the people who've actually slugged it out within the space. All right? And it doesn't matter where you're coming from. It doesn't matter whether you're coming from Ilorin or you're coming from Kaduna or anywhere. All right? With social media, I hate to admit, right, anything is really possible. All right? The way the game is now, or the way the space is now, is completely different. I have had to take advantage of a lot of evolution from 2006, which is where I want to start this conversation from, all the way till now. A lot of things have changed. All right, I started really working before there was Blackberries. Blackberry came, I had to evolve with that. Facebook came, I had to evolve with that. Twitter and Instagram came, I've had to evolve with that. All right, but at every step of the evolution, as painful as it is, I have constantly had to learn. That's my own filmmaking journey. It's like I've constantly had to evolve with the situation. I have been effectively doing this as a production company. It's 21 years this year. I have, however, been doing this. Oh gosh, no, I said it. But I have, the very first time I got paid for anything that has to do within the business, obviously I had to give it to my mother, but was about 30 years ago, 32 years ago. And I have watched a lot of evolution happen from that time till now. I have seen a lot of people who have been very big stars and you don't know their names today. All right? Things will come and go, but you guys, if you are not grounded in, at least on the, if you money you want to make, you have to be grounded. If you want people to know you, you have to be grounded in that space. If that makes any sense to you guys. You guys understand what I'm saying? All right, Daro.
That was amazing. You should write a book. Then we'll do it like yeah. Life and times of what we call it. Don't worry, I'll shoot it.
Talk your story from Benin.
Okay. I want to ask one question quickly, and this question is for both of you because you have similar stories. Now, there's something you said at the beginning, and that is the fact that you try to wiggle away from anything that concerns filmmaking because you want to be shadow of your parents. What in your life now, doing things that you're doing now, gives you that validation that you are not in their shadow, or are you being in their shadow? Or are you even in their? I don't think you are in their shadow. You are your person, definitely. Let's not even go into that conversation. But personally, what in your life gives you that validation? You understand?
I understand the question, and I don't think anyone has ever asked me that question.
Yeah. It's me now.
So that's quite a that's a very that makes me stop and think.
It's all right. Take a moment. Clarence, you see how I love you. Now you have to drop that question for first. I don't love you any less, but I know you can take it. Clarence.
What in my life gives me validation?
Yeah, that you are not.
That I am not in their shadow.
Yeah. Because you are definitely, I can say, because I see, you are not. I mean, you didn't come here, you were not introduced as the daughter of, no. I mean, you came here, you appeared as Buki Oloyede, and we love you as Buki Oloyede, so, yeah. But personally, why you move the way you move, though? You're interested in going
you move, just like that. All right. Wow. Police, sabe? Don't worry, I have big ears. I hear many things. I think that the moment. Okay, so I started working with Sony in 2021, September of 2021, right? And it was interesting I was trying to figure out what this role was and how I was going to navigate, these shoes that have never been filled by anyone before. And so I didn't really have much to go off of, right? And I think after the first 6 months or so of really sitting into the role and figuring out what was important to me, the key thing that came out was I don't even look, this is so hard to articulate because I'm thinking about the answer at the same time.
Okay.
It's so hard to articulate.
Let me help you. I want you to.
I have to walk back.
No. The thing is, maybe you are trying to be overly modest about it, and the truth is, it's not pride.
Call out, shall listen.
It's not pride. Buki, you can say it. What makes Buki show up as Buki? That's what I'm saying. Forget all the English I'm asking. What makes Buki show up as Buki every time? And you are not showing up because you are Buki Oloyede. You are Buki first before you are even Buki Oloyede. Yeah, you are Buki Oloyede, but you understand what I'm saying? What makes you show up?
Okay.
Yeah.
It was very important to me stepping into this, not necessarily this role, but it followed me into this role, but stepping into this space was very important to me to make my own footprints, to leave my own footprints, to leave my own mark. I didn't know how I was going to do it because as I said, when I started working in production, my sister was, she had a prominent role, right? On my first production, which was Nigerian Idol. So I was constantly in her shadows. In fact, I used to fight being introduced as Diola's sister. I'm like, it's Bukola. I have a name. Yes, she's my sister, but that's not who I am. So I used to fight that. I used to also not lead with my surname as well, because the moment I mention my surname, within the space, there are people who automatically just connect who I am with where I'm coming from or whom I'm coming from. So it was very important to me to figure out how to make my own mark, how to sort of separate myself. Like I said, I didn't know how I was going to do it. I wasn't sure. But I think this job has helped me do that. And because I've never really thought about it, I'm actually just realizing now, what I'm realizing now is that I don't even know when I stopped trying.
Come on, put your hands together for that. There's something there. I don't know if you got it.
I don't remember when I stopped trying to be different. Because somehow, it was easy, it became easy for me to make my mark, for me to leave my footprints. And I will tell you why it became easy, because I recognize that the biggest footprints and the biggest marks you will make are in people.
Man, put your hands together. Come on. You're dropping gems right now.
But saying that also makes me connect with my parents' journey, especially my dad. And this is somebody that we fought all the time, and it's dawning on me how connected we still are. He's late, by the way, now, but how connected we still are in the things that were important to him then, which was investing in people, and the things that are important to me now, which is investing in people. Because if you invest, for me, I find you invest in people, it's not just those relationships, those subtleties, they last much longer. The effects, they linger. So if there's anything that I can say makes me know that I'm not in their shadow, it is the people that I've invested in and the relationships that are, it's almost like a gift that keeps on giving. And just even the idea, the thought, the knowledge that I'm not even trying to be, or I'm not even trying not to be in anyone's shadow. I've just taken up my own space in the world, and I'm living that truth.
Come on. Come on. Come on. Now, I just want to add something to what you said. You see, for a long time in my life, and this is a bit of an aside, I struggled. My dad is a wonderful person. He is one of the funniest people I've ever met in my life. Kind-hearted. He's a beautiful person, and I'm not saying it just because he's my dad. I'm saying it because that has been my experience with him. There are a lot of things in my life right now that I have him to thank for, and some of them might be personal, but maybe I'll share them. I don't know. But there are some things I did not particularly like that he did. Yeah, some things. They weren't incredibly bad things. And I, just like Buki said, I didn't want to be under anybody's shadow. So I kept struggling with the fact that people would compare me with my dad. They say, you're just like your dad. You look like him, you won't behave like him, Somehow I resented it. Not because it was outrightly a bad thing, but so for years I kept fighting it. I kept telling myself, I don't want to be like my dad. I don't want to be like my dad. And the more I fought not to be like my dad, and guys, this is a lesson to you, guys, sons of fathers, and this is a lesson going forward. I kept fighting. I don't want to be like my dad. But you see, the only picture I had before me was the dad I did not want to be like. What I should have done instead is think about the man I want to be. And look at that picture and say, this is the man I want to be. Do you get the logic? The moment I accepted the fact that I'm my father's son, yeah, I will resemble him. There's a reason why I was born by this man. The day I accepted that, I began to find myself. So, this issue of shadow or no shadow, is it really a thing? It's not, because not be good shadow. Is he a bad shadow? Shadow is not necessarily a bad thing. No. If you think about it, I'm just saying, if your father or your mother were terrible people, then you don't want to be under their shadow. But your folks, they have a great reputation. There's nothing wrong if you start out being like them or having some things about them. But do you know what? There's something she said, and I want you to pick up on that. She showed up every day. The day she became Buki Oloyede, she can't even remember that day because she just kept doing what? Showing up. So you just have to keep what? Doing your work excellently, and you will find yourself. And whether you are under shadow or not under shadow, it won't really matter. Did that make any sense? Oh, yeah, clap for me now. Okay, so Clarence, I'm asking you the same question too. I've given you plenty expo now. It's okay. You can say some.
There we go, Fighter.
I love you, my brother. Brotherly love.
What was the question again?
So the question is, at what point? Because yeah, you said you had those issues where you were trying not to be.
Oh
yeah.
My own is a lot more dramatic. It's a lot more dramatic.
It's a lot more dramatic. Okay, give us the edited version.
My father is Shino Peters, my mother is Clarence Chikura. That's hard.
Like, that is not a shadow you can easily. But you don't sing now.
Yeah, but I wasn't in. I didn't want to be in the business at first because of that, right? But that didn't work out. Look, with me, it came with good sides and bad sides. The shadow was not all good.
Okay.
Right. So there are a lot of people who don't want you to succeed. Or the narrative is that I wouldn't succeed.
Okay.
And one morning I just woke up and I just didn't care. I just didn't. For every single person that tells you you can't do something, at first it affects your ego and quickly moves into you starting to second guess yourself whether you can do that thing or not. But the moment whichever way you get to that point where you don't care, for me it was the filmmaking. I just stopped listening to anything and I just focused on my work. And when I say that, I mean literally. I just had headphones on almost every day.
You still do that now? So that's what you are doing with that. Okay.
And I just didn't listen to anybody, anything like that. If it didn't have anything to do with the work that I was trying to do, then I just blocked it out. If you found footage of me earlier on, you would, like, when I was on, I still saw BTS of me on Jimmy Jazz Stylist shoots. I had headphones on. I wasn't listening to anybody. I didn't care that it was Two-Face that was there. I don't see the artist, or it's not my concern. I just focus on the work. I am shooting for the video and I'm listening to Wizkid song. And there's nothing anybody's going to you pay for video, Shibi? Alright, I'll give you your video. Just how I do it is not your business. Alright? And so I just stopped caring about what people say. The problem with that, which when you start getting successful, it's not easy not to care or to listen to people anymore. It's easier for you when you're young because nobody has any expectations for you really. All right, nobody really sends you, you know. So you're just you can figure out a way just being able to move on. But the moment people start thinking that you're successful, if you start making money, everybody now starts looking at you. And so after that, it becomes hard not to listen. So over a period of time, that came back. So I didn't deal with it the way Buki dealt with it. The way I dealt with it, that's why I said it's dramatic. The way I dealt with it wasn't the right way to deal with it. All right? I didn't deal with it with myself. I just blocked everyone out and I just focused on work. All right? I didn't deal with the personal issues with myself. All right? Until a couple of years ago was when I started being able to deal with that. It's very important that you deal with your own personal problems, especially if within this business. If you're working in a bank, none of this matters. It's fine. But if you are going to be a filmmaker, musician, whatever it is that has to deal with emotions, has to deal with you channeling your emotions, you constantly have to evaluate yourself and how you feel constantly. Because contrary to what most people tell you, your feelings is what you are selling. It's how you feel. Your emotions is what you are trying to catalog together and express in a way that other people can relate to because they also feel like that. The moment you are not able to compartmentalize your anger, your rage, your feelings towards love or whatever it is, it will, if it's not dealing with you now, it will still haunt you. Especially when you start getting successful. There is no, they'll tell you to go and see a therapist at some point, all right? I mean, everyone should at some point see a therapist, but you need to constantly evaluate yourself, constantly check yourself. If you're aware of the fact that that's what you're selling, your emotions and your mind, that's your number one asset within this space. That's the real commodity. It's not everything else. You are the real asset. That's why everyone can be successful at whatever it is that they're doing, right? The moment you figured out how to articulate, like everybody here has a story in their head, Abi? One thing that if it's not fiction, it's your real life. Everybody's real life here is a film or a series. True? All right. The difference between you and the next person is that the next person has figured out how to use certain tools to communicate that thing. All right? That's the only difference. All right? But if you start focusing on the tools and then you forget you, then you'll be doing what everybody else is doing. You won't be doing you. So At first, I focused on just me. And then I forgot that, because success does that to you. And then I had to start working back to being able to do it the right way by dealing with my own self. So at the expense of standing like as if I'm a therapist, I'm passing the mic.
Please put your hands together for Clarence. I'm incredibly proud of you, brother. Bless you. All right. Don't worry, I'm out of your hair. I'm out of your hair. Okay,
Sorry, I just wanted to quickly piggyback on something. Perhaps maybe we might get into that a little later, but we're going to move on really quickly because we do have some exciting things to show you.
Yep.
We are going to screen a couple of films, and were you able to get it, Wale? Okay, cool. So last year in September, Clarence's film was series was premiered on Netflix. It's called Inside Life. If you saw it, I don't know what you thought about it. I guess we'll get into that. If you didn't see it, we'll show you one episode today, and then we can, you can also ask your questions. And then Darrow.